Okay, guys, so I figured that I would kind of go over two of the questions that we missed in the tutorials because we ran out of time. So the first thing we missed was just this little equation here. It describes how changes in the real exchange rate are a result of changes in the nominal exchange rate plus home country inflation minus foreign country inflation. So the real exchange rate is like how much goods are worth in one country and then how much goods are worth in another country. So instead of exchanging the currency to buy those goods, it's just like how much does a book cost in Canada versus how much does a book cost in Japan. Any change to that relative price is a result of a change in the nominal exchange rate or inflation in either country. So um, that'll be useful to sort of explain what's happening in question 5. So I just wanted to open with that. But in the last video, I talked about how you get an IS curve from a closed economy. You had savings and investments, and then where they met, that was the interest rate. The difference now is that we're dealing with an open economy, which means that savings doesn't always equal investment. Savings minus investment, though, equals net exports. And so that's what we want to think about when we're trying to derive our IS curve. So this is, deriving the IS curve, this first graph here. Savings minus investment is sloped upwards because as the interest rate goes up, you want to save more, and like less people want to borrow money to invest it. And then this line is net exports, which has a negative relationship with the interest rate. So what we want to think about now is what will happen to our interest rate, like right here, as y increases. So that's what's happening on your ISLM curve, is that you're sort of dealing with two variables, the interest rate and y. So where does this shape come from? How do we know that as y increases, the interest rate in our IS curve will decrease? Well, let's just think about what happens when y increases. When y increases, savings goes up because you have more income, which is going to move this line from here to here. And your net exports line is going to shift this way because if you have more income in the home country, they're going to be buying more goods from abroad, and so that's going to move your net exports down. And so you'll end up at this new point, and you can imagine that this was just like some arbitrary amount of output raising, but as I would raise output or lower it to different amounts, I would sort of end up with this whole green line right here. And then that's exactly what this green line is. So moving on to question 5, we have a situation where you're given like a fixed employment output, and you're meant to find like the interest rates and the exchange rate and all that kind of stuff. That stuff I found was really easy to do. All you had to do was you had equations given to you sort of for savings and investment, and so just do S, which is y minus c minus g, minus I equals net exports. So you do that, you plug in y, it gives you an interest rate, and then you can just plug in that interest rate into everything else to find your answers there. Part B, you just do the same thing, but with a larger y, and so that'll change the r you get, and it'll change the answers to everything else that you get. I wanted to try to come up with an explanation for y. So r is going down, and that's going to result in the real interest rate going down. And I just wanted to think about it in terms of these graphs as to what would happen. So when I first thought about the fact that y is going up, it just means I'm moving from a fixed employment level of this dotted line to this dotted line. Now, the problem at this new dotted line right here is that the IS curve, obviously these two aren't in sync. So I'm going to need something to sort of move my LM curve down, right? I need to lower my money demand, essentially, to bring this down to a level, something like there. In order to lower money demand, you would lower prices, right? Because everything just costs less, then you don't need as much money, and so your money demand goes down. So prices go down. And according to the equation that we were first looking at when we were we had this, question 3. If prices go down, then so will the real exchange rate as part of this formula right here. So, yeah, that's just a brief explanation of the 2 questions that we missed in class.